Hallo miteinander, I'm Geschedi6 and this is Ghost Hunter Reimu. Last time we got into a rush of the bossy kind. There wasn't much of a stage to go with it, and the same applies today. We can ignore this Skull Conjurer. The game does not award red stars for complete kills anymore. Almost immediately, we arrive at an unexpected sight. Yomo has defeated Alice all on her own. Great! This would be the point where we could all go home, except Reimu promptly declares herself the new lady of Hakugyokuro. Yomo is absolutely dumbfounded by this, until she realizes that Reimu has lost her humanity. With that, our former ally attacks us. Honestly, we can't blame her. Yomo is most dangerous when up close, so we once again configured ourselves into a mage. A mage with a new spell moreover, the homing magic. It is a bundle of energy bullets that many bosses have used against us so far, including Yomu right now. When the whole cluster connects, it'll do a lot of damage, but it's a painfully expensive cast. That is why we've waited for this very specific battle to buy and bring it along. Yomo has loads of ways to attack. When she jumps into the air, she may slash multiple portions of the screen at once. Wait for the hit zones lighting up and get in between. It's like avoiding the Kitsune's lightning, except a little tighter. She really likes to stay airborne a lot today, very untypical for her. At least that means she'll dash at us less. The slash that follows such a dash is hard to avoid, even when you've got ample distance to Yomu. The whole maneuver is just very fast and sudden. We just gulped down our full recovery potion. Rather than the healing effect, we did it to regain full MP so that we can finish Yomu even faster. She barely got to show off her energy waves. Stay away from the walls when you jump them, as their explosions can also hurt you. And that's it. We've successfully defeated the final boss. That's right, the final one. Reimu only briefly mocks the dying Yomu. Much stronger is her desire to explore her newly found dark powers and getting used to the whole villain business. One of her goals she mentions is to extend her influence beyond just Hakugyokuro. In an uncaring way, Reimu remarks that there's still another unusual presence nearby. Foreshadowing, perhaps? She quickly loses interest, however, and becomes much more concerned with frolicking in her villainy. What I mean is this. Again, Reimu's voice actress is having a blast here, hamming it up. Also, my planet needs me. I don't think anyone really needs Reimu anymore now. But well, she's taken off. With the last of her strength, Yomu apologizes to her mistress Yuyuko for failing her and being unable to prevent this catastrophe. It's really a sad and frustrating way to go, but it's how the story ends. So, this was our Let's Play of Ghost Hunter Reimu. I hope you enjoyed our adventure, in which Yomu has gone from half phantom to full phantom, and is already starting to rot under that girdle now. Everywhere else too, but I thought it important to emphasize the girdle. Anyway, hope you're proud of our achievements, because I'm not. Of course you're all innocent. I planned from the very start to show you the evil route first. There's also a more satisfying, much better ending. The branching takes place just after you defeat the mannequin, which was, if you remember, the first time Reimu showed a different, nastier side of hers. Unfortunately, once that point of the game is reached, you're trapped on your path. You'll have to start a new file and do things differently. Know what? I'll briefly show you what we need to do to get a more pleasant conclusion, and we'll just pretend the old one never happened. The path to the good ending has to do with the corruption meter, which I mentioned in episode 1 and never since. Every time we destroyed a cursed doll, we accumulated a little bit of corruption until we ended at the leftmost end of the meter. To actually improve that meter, a certain magic is required, and it's the one we are buying right now, right here. These are ceiling charms. For a long time, I did not know what their purpose was. If you shoot them at your average enemy, they will go right through without doing any damage. What you're really supposed to do is fight a doll until it's a single hit away from being destroyed. Then you apply 5 of the ceiling charms before finishing it. That way you won't receive any ghost gauge and the corruption meter will shift a little to the right. Basically, this is how you properly exorcise those dolls without getting Reimu's soul tainted. You will need to take some extra time and care this way. Be warned, if your foe isn't fully sealed or the following hit isn't the last one, all applied charms will be removed. Throwing a ceiling charm costs 1 MP, so try and make them count. If you get through the art gallery with the corruption meter in its positive half, our heroine will stay her reasonable human self after the boss fight. I think that's enough explanation. We are now on a different file, and we are going to replay the final level. The corruption meter will be blue this time, with its left end crossed out. This means we've qualified for the good route. Hello, Skull Conjurer. Bye, Skull Conjurer. The situation in the boss chamber will be a totally reversed one from last time. In this alternate timeline, Yomu did not do well at all, leaving us to deal with what will be a very kinkily clad Alice. If that kimono sat any lower, I'd have to use Photoshop. It's not porn if you don't see the nipples. Reimu repeats her surprise that Alice was able to create fully independent dolls, but rather than giving answers, Alice gloats, scolds us for harming her beautiful creations, and finally attacks. Compared to Yomu, Alice could not be more different. She creates a formidable amount of bullets and rarely floats into a position where she's easy to hit. More importantly though, she constantly conjures up small dolls. You will only have a short time frame to destroy them before Alice uses them for one of various attacks. It can be the lightning we just witnessed, but that one is kind of rare. More often, the dolls are thrown like grenades or enlarged. Once big, they may slam into the floor for an earthquake, or even just occupy the ground level as a contact hazard. We saw the very first doll do that. It was quite impressive. Sadly for Alice, our loadout trivializes her. It is the most dedicated melee build we've had yet. Apart from being incredibly healthy, successful strikes frequently heal us. We often take damage from just colliding with Alice, and that does look sloppy, but in the long run, staying up close and aggressive simply overwhelms this encounter. That did it. In my opinion, this was the easier of the 2 final bosses. First things first, we check Yomu and her girdle for signs of life. They are indeed fine, so now we move our attention to Alice again, who uses the most cliché excuse for her actions: mind control and amnesia. We shouldn't let that pass, but her demonic glow is gone and her expression much more innocent, so Reimu believes her. The last thing Alice recalls is repairing a broken doll at Hakugyokuro. Everything else is blurry. We conclude from this that there is a different mastermind somewhere, and that Alice was just a distraction. More by chance, Reimu mentions that the dolls were Japanese, which helps Alice remember that the doll she was fixing was also of Japanese style. Slowly, everything is coming back to her. Emphasis on slowly. Reimu is getting a little impatient here, which I do understand. Alice's voice actress speaks calmly, softly, and very breathy. Can't pretend I don't like how she sounds, but I wouldn't exactly say those are the characteristics of a captivating storyteller. Anyway, Alice continues that she had discovered a small box during a break from her work. Thinking that Yuyuko has meant it for her, Alice opened the curious box. At this point, the conversation comes to somewhat of a halt again, due to Alice's fleeting memories, so we'll jump ahead. What she thought was in the box was a kimono, perhaps the naughty one she is wearing right now. It would explain Alice's redesign, which is undoubtedly the boldest one in the whole game. Reimu makes the connection that the contents of the box must have been what mind-controlled Alice. On that reveal, Alice can't help but point out the irony that she, the puppeteer, became someone's puppet while making a puppet, no less. The mystery is anything but solved, yet all the ghosts have left the premise after Alice's defeat. Apparently, the new mastermind has also fled. Our Shrine Maiden's objective will be to find out more about the box and the kimono, which greatly annoys her. Yeah, she starts shouting and whining out of nowhere here. She wanted to have a lazy summer vacation, but is forced to resume her quest in the extra stage. Yomu is really cheeky here. She counters, "You're always lazy." She's terribly injured, but still sees it necessary to make fun of Reimu. Alice quickly volunteers to treat Yomu's wounds, so that Reimu can go on ahead with her duties. It's for the better. The Shrine Maiden might just stab Yomu some more with the mood she's in. Alice also hands us some food she received, which is a very random line to end on. Nonetheless, we are again at the credits after a much better ending. Well now, as always, we end on a short review. Ghost Hunter Reimu is a pretty cool game when you have the patience for it. The few flaws we've come across are tolerable, and what I do admire is the good balance between exploration and combat. This is thanks to the level design being pretty solid all in all. The rooms have memorable identities and go beyond being just arenas for fighting enemies, except when they're intended for just that. About what else there is to do, Yomu mode will unlock no matter how you complete the main story. It is some pretty engaging content, and we'll have a detailed look at it in the bonus episode. As for our campaign as Reimu, this is pretty much it, if you disregard the extra stage, which I more or less view as an overly difficult post-game. I wanted to limit the Let's Play to Reimu mode, but I'm not absolutely firm in my decision anymore. Maybe we will append the extra stage to this series one day. The main condition for this being that I'll actually get somewhat close to beating it in test runs. With that, I'm Gesh86, this was Ghost Hunter Reimu. Bis bald!